Today on Doomed! You're likely familiar with Facebook and Google and other household tech names that collect your online data. But there are tons of companies you've never heard of sucking up what you do on the internet and using that data to help some of the worst online to monetize their content. And now, those very same companies may soon enable law enforcement and others to spy on you in a post-Roe America. If it sounds horrible, that's because you're listening to Doomed with Matt Binder, everybody. That's right. And joining me today to discuss all of this, let me bring us up on the feed here. She's the co-founder of Check My Ads and former co-founder of Sleeping Giants, Nandini Jammi. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Matt. Thanks so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. I've been following your work on Check My Ads for a while, and I want people to know, before we sort of delve into any of the specific campaigns you guys have rolled out, I want people to understand what Check My Ads is and what you all do over there. So really quickly, can you break down what is Check My Ads?
That's a great question. Check My Ads. We are the first and only ad tech watchdog, and our current mission is to dismantle the disinformation economy. So when I say watchdog, when I talk about ad tech, I want to talk about the disinformation economy in general. As you sort of set this up, this goes beyond Facebook and Twitter and the YouTube and all that stuff that we're usually talking about. That is where disinformation operatives amplify their message. But when it comes to where they make money, where they cash out, that actually doesn't happen on those platforms. That's where like Facebook makes money off of them. But for them to make money, they need to move the audience to their own websites and to their own properties. And that's where there's a thousands of ad tech companies on the other end of that are ready to plaster those websites in display ads and video ads and all kinds of garbage that makes your computer move slower. And that is where they make the bulk of their revenues. So that is what we focus on researching, and that is what and that is where we cut them off. The disinformation economy to us is advertisers spend around something between, and we don't even know the answer because that's how opaque this industry is, anywhere between like $400 to $700 billion a year. And much of the way that this money is spent, from the point that it leaves the advertiser's wallet to wherever it ends up in the whosever's bank account it ends up in the world, is a mystery. And sometimes, most of the time, we don't know where that money goes. So that's what we do at Check My Ads. We track these things down and we focus on holding ad tech companies accountable rather than the people themselves.
Right. So when you say disinformation economy, you're basically talking about these companies that are making money by placing ads on websites that basically get all their traffic from content that spreads falsehoods and in some instances even far right extremist or reactionary content.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this is something that we discovered in 2016. We found advertisers, big advertisers, having their ads run on Breitbart. And that was the first time that anyone realized that their ads could end up in corners of these sort of dark corners of the internet. But Breitbart was just one website. So while we were able to successfully demonetize Breitbart to the tune of like 90% of its ad revenues within the first 3 months, that was a drop in the bucket. There's thousands of more websites, and there's all kinds of ways that the bad guys are sort of funneling money to their bank accounts. And because the ad tech industry is the ad tech supply chain is so opaque, it's like the perfect place to do it.
Right. So basically, I want people to really understand, because if they're not so tech savvy, they're hearing us say ad tech and help monetize these sites. So basically, what we're talking about is there are companies who, everyone I think is familiar at some point, at some level, I would say, I guess, with Google ads. They see them on websites. They know that if they click, that website makes money. Basically, there are thousands of companies that run similar types of contextual advertising on a whole range of websites. And obviously, it broadens out into like banner ads, actual advertisements with graphics, some of them video ads, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
these are companies that usually, sometimes, actually, from what I understand, they pay a lot more than Google Ads. Obviously, I've also heard that they have a much higher bar in terms of the traffic a website needs to be bringing in for them to be accepted into these programs. But some of these sites, these lesser known ad tech companies, I should say, pay a lot out to these sites. Is that true?
Yeah. It's so for the less ad tech savvy, when I talk about ad exchanges and ad tech, the biggest ad exchange in the world is Google. It's like they run like 95% of the ads that you see on the internet. And the rest of them are sort of smaller players, but they do the same thing. And so that's sort of the meeting place for publishers and advertisers. So advertisers, they represent the demand, and the publishers are the supply. So basically what's happening in the ad tech supply chain when I refer to this is, so there's like an ad exchange in the middle, and this is where they connect, but then there's all these and like that's like the most important thing to know. But then there's all these other companies over time that have sort of inserted themselves into the process. So now it's like, wait, okay, so like whereas you in the newspaper days, you would have gone to a newspaper and placed your ad directly on the newspaper, call up the newspaper and be like, hey, I want my ad in the style section. What happens today is you go to the really big companies will go to, say, an agency, and then the agency will go to an ad a set of ad networks and ad exchanges, and then there's all these companies that come in and say, we can help you optimize, we can help you target. And so there's all these players that are sort of like inserting themselves into the process, taking a cut of the ad revenues, and really sort of like everyone just kind of takes their commission, and the publisher actually in many cases doesn't end up with as much money as you would think, but they essentially they essentially make it so difficult for an advertiser to understand where their ads actually were placed. How much money are they spending versus how much do they need to spend? And the advertiser usually just ends up with a high level report of, like overall impressions, like total impressions, total conversions, total clicks, but they rarely know what is happening under that. And that's the important stuff, because that's like the URL that your ad appeared on is a very, very important detail, but most advertisers don't ever see that because they've handed over essentially their ad spend. And some of these companies are like, these Fortune 500 companies are spending a pretty penny, and they don't have a clue where their ads were placed.
So these companies are basically, for viewers, I want to again make it absolutely clear. Some of this gets confusing for if you're not familiar with the space. These companies basically trust these ad tech companies to place their advertisements on the network of websites that these ad tech companies have basically compiled. Like they've reached out to various different websites, said, we want you on our network. And these large brands pay that ad tech company for their ads to appear across the network. And a lot of times, what you're saying is the brands do not even know the exact websites which are part of this network that their ads are appearing on.
Yep. It
All right.
sounds crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just the exchanges, right? Like there's what has happened over the past 10, 15 years is that advertisers have effectively lost control of where their ads are placed. So yeah, so they don't place the ads, it's happening programmatically, and then it's happening through a third party that is essentially hiding the information, like the very critical information of where those ads were placed, and um, other important details from the client. So the advertiser today only knows, like, the average advertiser oh yeah, and then I totally forgot to mention that there's been this huge sort of like industry-wide campaign to convince advertisers not to look at their own ads. Like, don't worry about it, we're taking care of it. So when advertisers first found their ads on Breitbart, they all flipped out, and they wanted answers. And so what happened as a response from the industry was there was all these brand safety technology companies whose job it was to keep your ads off of Breitbart, coming up with all sorts of like new technologies to keep your ads away from hate speech and violence and inappropriate content. But all they did was provide another layer of like just another layer of obscurity, so that the advertiser now doesn't know where their ads are being placed versus being blocked. So what they did, instead of like, I don't know, what the industry did instead of giving advertisers the tools to check their ads, was to introduce another tool that would where they sort of like tick off boxes saying, hey, I don't want to be on violent content. I don't want to be, this is my risk threshold for being on like sexuality, and just like all kinds of weirdo like categories that like no one understands. Like, even I, like, if you or I had to look at this and had to like define what is like medium or low risk violence, like what does that even mean? But those are the kinds of buttons that they give them, this sort of toggles they give them. And then they place the ads for them, and they never let them see what actually happened. There's no way to audit it.
Right. I mean, I'm sure there was some. I'm not familiar with the advertising industry in media, like old school, like legacy media, like TV or radio. But I'm sure there was something sort of similar back when that was the major, before the internet era, where I'm sure like local radio stations and local TV stations sort of ran like a network, ad said, oh, we could run your ads on our network of stations. But like then, like, the worst sort of content you could go on, I guess, would be like what? Like your ad plays during like an R-rated movie on some local TV station. Like it seems like the bar for the type of problematic content your ads can be run next to or during is a lot higher during the in the internet era, where anyone can basically make a website, drive some traffic to it, and get brought on to one of these networks, and these brands have no idea where that's going.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, at least there's like the FCC for TV, and it was never automated to this level. I mean, there was never this many players in the supply chain. I mean, there's companies that I've been studying this for like 2-3 years now. That's all I do, and I still don't know what half these companies do. And there's people who've worked in this industry their entire careers who, I'll go to them with this company I've heard of, and they're like, I have no idea what it does. It's like it's twisted itself into a pretzel. It makes no sense to anybody, and it's just this gigantic, like, defective, boringly powerful machine that controls everything that we see and do. Because and one thing that I want to introduce as a sort of the other side of this, when we talk about the disinformation economy, and when I talk about these companies that are sort of deciding, these brand safety companies, coming into the picture and saying, we will block your ads from inappropriate content. What that actually means is that these companies are deciding how $400 billion are spent across the internet. They are essentially shaping the information ecosystem, and their algorithms are completely under wraps, a total black box, and no one even knows they exist. Not even the publishers.
Right, and there is something.
The publishers can't access. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, you cut out for a second there. What is that you said?
Oh, sorry. I meant no one knows they exist, and publishers can't even get access or any insights into these algorithms.
Right. I mean, to me, like a very concerning part of it, and part of when I see activist organizations or tech accountability groups go after a tech firm or company, I'm 9 times out of 10 familiar with who they're going after. I would even say probably even more than 9 times out of 10. But with Check My Ads, a lot of times I see the companies you guys are putting on blast and trying to get to hold accountable, and I'm like, who are these guys? And I think that's something that makes this even more concerning. You know, whatever we think about Facebook and Google and Twitter and TikTok, all of these forward-facing like consumer brand names, there is some accountability there. As bad as they are, their names are known and people know who to point the finger at when their product does something wrong, or in their case sometimes right, but shouldn't be doing it. Right for them, but they shouldn't be doing it. But here these companies seem to be able to run completely under the radar. No one knows who they are. No one knows who to go after. A lot of these ad networks, even on those websites that are their partner, that their ads are running on, they don't you'll see you know the website because you're on it. You know the advertiser because you see their ad. They don't the middleman though, the ad tech company, they don't advertise their name. Usually, some of them actually like to put powered by or whatever, but that's rare. Usually, these guys are completely hidden in the shadows while, being the middleman and serving the ad to that website.
That's right. And every day I learn about some new random ass company, and it's it's terrifying. And a lot of these companies are shell corporations, like zero ownership details. I mean, the advertising industry is like it's like a money launderer's paradise because everything that you said is possible, and they can access these multi-million dollar budgets from Fortune 500, absolutely no handle on, or understanding of where their money is going, and it's just a cash grab.
Right.
It's just a cash grab, and I mean, the extent to which this is just, I mean, from an advertiser's perspective, it's a nightmare because, I mean, just real quick, one of the sort of, I guess, more interesting stories from my time at Sleeping Giants was we really hit Uber hard when they because they were still advertising on Breitbart. We went after them for quite a while, back in 2017, I think it was, and what's his name, the CEO, Travis, he was like, okay, fine, just shut it, shut down the Breitbart ads, the ads on Breitbart. And so that's what they did. The paid acquisitions team instructed all of their vendors to block Breitbart from their media buy, but ads kept slipping through. So because we were all watching it, right? Like our followers, we're all going to Breitbart. We're still seeing Uber ads. So they're like, why are these ads still appearing on this website when we explicitly told everyone not to do it? And so the head of performance, the head of acquisition went and dug in to see what was going on. Paused all of the campaigns all of the vendors that were placing ads on Breitbart. So paused them. He was like, this is going to be a big deal because we just paused 10% of our ad spend, which is huge for a company like Uber, which is going head to head with Lyft. And so he braced for this big drop in new app downloads. But that is not what happened. What ended up happening was nothing changed. And this is 10% of this company's budget is like an enormous amount of money. So it was kind of weird, right? Like they're still spending money, but they're not seeing any results. So then he goes in and he, digs around to see what was happening, comes out realizing that they had been defrauded something like $60 million. Keeps digging, finds out they've been defrauded like $100 million. And their ad budget was $150 million. So like 2/3 of their ad budget was like nothing. Like it was not contributing to their business at all. They just burned through $100 million.
Wow. That's
And that's Uber.
right. One company.
Think about options for the entire economy. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And
Oh no, no, there were multiple companies doing the fraud, but yeah, that like Uber was being defrauded by that much, and they had the resources to catch things like this. I mean, think about what's happening to all the other companies
wait,
if
so
Uber
so
can't
so
catch
so
this.
so what was happening? They were basically, I want to make sure I understand then. So they were paying like an ad tech company to run these ads, and they didn't realize how much of their ad spend was, like, they changed their ad spend or something. What happened there?
Okay, so this is gonna get like a tiny bit technical, but okay, so there was multiple kinds of ad frauds that were happening. This was attribution fraud. So what was happening was they went to this company. I think the company is called Fetch, and it is a subsidiary of a company called Dentsu. By the way, the advertising agency like conglomerate situation is insane. There's like so many names to go around. But anyway, this company called Fetch. So what they did was they had this like strategy where they were like all those useless apps like calculator apps and things like that. So
Right.
they had flooded the market with those apps like the app store markets, and they so people were downloading, say, let's say like the calculator app. And so what this app was programmed to do was when someone who has that app on their phone searches for Uber in the App Store, so types in Uber, this pixel fires. Like the app fires a pixel, and then it takes credit for the download. So no, they were not the user was not being served Uber ad. Like what happened? What Uber thought happened was that people were clicking on Uber ads and then they were downloading Uber. That's not what was happening. They were learning about Uber from other places, like through TV ads or whatever. Maybe they'd seen ads before or whatever, but they themselves went in and they typed in Uber, and this company was taking credit for it. I mean, it was just straight fraud.
Wow.
And that was one of the like I think someone else was just like one of the other companies was just like doctoring Excel spreadsheets and just like straight up lying. Like it was just really, yeah. And this is all because advertisers are not checking their ads, which is why we started first a company called Check My Ads and then a nonprofit called Check My Ads Institute.
I gotta say, I have another podcast, another show called Scam Economy, and you could have come on that one and told that story.
I was thinking that too. I was like, you want to hear scams? I got scammed.
I didn't want to get it too off, but that was an interesting story for sure. So let's get a little bit back on track now, and I might have to actually ask you to come on the other show now that I heard that one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about now, because one of the ways a lot of these ad tech companies make money isn't just on the advertising itself, but also on the data that it collects from people, that it then packages up and sells to people or organizations or companies that want to basically mine and use that data to do who knows what. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I can. The promise of digital advertising and the reason that everyone bought into it 15 years ago was the idea of serving the right person with the right message at the right time. The biggest pain point for marketers and advertisers pre-programmatic advertising was there's like this quote that the marketers love to say, like one guy actually said it, 50% of my or half my ad spend is wasted. I just don't know which half. And that was the idea that like you put up a billboard and you pay for it, but you never know if the billboard actually worked or not. So when this like concept of like I can track my advertising, I can track if people are clicking and seeing my ads, when that sort of was presented to them, obviously everyone got super excited and bought into it. But what happened was sort of a race to the bottom, I guess. I don't know that that's the right way to put it, but like this sort of this ideal of being able to reach the right person meant that you needed to know more about the person. So that sort of has driven this economy of data brokers and of like tracking and monitoring and understanding people in ways that are increasingly invasive and inappropriate. And so, yeah, today, I don't to, like there's apps that are tracking where you are right now. They track where you go during the day, like as long as you have a smartphone and it's connected to the like date to your data source. They're tracking where you go. And that is how all these apps that you use for free and even paid for provide their service to you. So when you pay even like I don't know, $5 a month or whatever that you pay for, I don't know, your meditation app, that's not where they're making most of their money. They're making most of their money by following you around and selling that data to data brokers. And then the data brokers repackage it up in all kinds of ways, and they make it what they're basically trying to get at is they're merging enough data that they can basically figure out exactly who you are. And I mean, I remember when I was a sort of new marketer, like back in 2014, and I thought it was so exciting that I could track and like see what my customers were, what my audience, what my customers were doing, because that would help me formulate better campaigns, maybe write better copy, just get to know my customer better. But the amount of information that they have about you now, like literally your periods, like that is like what marketer actually needs that data, and no one has really stopped to ask in this industry, do we actually need to know all this shit about people? Because I don't think you need that to sell toothbrushes.
Right. You're talking about like those apps that literally help women track their periods, and that data is actually not just sitting on your phone. It actually gets sent out to the app company and whoever they work with, their partners that package and sell that data.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And
Right.
this data is being used in such horrifying ways. If I may, I just remembered there was a film a documentary that came out just before the elections called People. What was it called? People You May Know, I think. And that documentary was sort of takes you into this dark underbelly of apps that are collecting collecting data on people's emotional health, identifying who is depressed, who is emotionally vulnerable, who's just gotten a divorce, who has a lot of anxiety, and they were collecting that information, repackaging it up, and selling it specifically to political parties. Specifically to one political party.
Wonder which one that is. Oh,
Yeah, and that's legal.
right.
So they collect all kinds of. I mean, when you be really careful when you download a meditation app or anything where you are communicating your mental health to somebody, because to an app, because that paints a picture of who you are.
Right.
And that helps. That is exactly the kind of thing that marketers don't need, and there's no reason to collect it. But some people in politics may be working on collecting that information for other reasons.
Right. And we're going to get to that in just 1 second, but I just wanted to sort of point out, I think people can really get a handle on just how big of a business the data collection side of this is by just they might have even heard of this. It's probably one of the more mainstream stories that you would hear about when it comes to packaging, selling data, or how important data is to these companies in general. You might have heard that Facebook recently, I think it was like either the past quarterly or the one before that, they actually lost a lot of money, or were projecting a loss of a lot of money, because in a rare good move from one of these big tech companies, Apple was going to allow, and you probably notice it now when you download a new app, Apple now asks its users, iPhone users, when you download an app that collects your location data, or your data in any way, really, Apple actually says, do you want to provide this app with that data? Yes or no? And users can now say, no, we don't want to give this data to this app that I just downloaded. And Facebook projected that that one question Apple now asks was going to cause them big losses, and they actually their stock fell. They were projecting less revenue. So really, this is really big business, and I think that story is the perfect example. And it's a rare time when we're talking about companies that people have actually heard of. Like, this is Facebook who is doing that with your data. Who knows what some of these lesser known companies are still doing or going to do or are doing right now are doing. And that brings us to what you were mentioning. So last week, and you have an interesting story that I think really ties it all. It's a great segue. Last week there was that leak from the Supreme Court that basically it seems like, unless there is some change, but it seems like we are headed to an America. We're going to live in an America where Roe v. Wade is no longer the law of the land. States will be allowed to completely and entirely make abortion illegal and pass laws that punish abortion providers, doctors, women who seek abortions, people who help people get abortions. Really a giant attack on women's reproductive rights, women's rights in general, the pro-choice movement. It's as horrifying as it all is, it could get even worse due to everything we just spoke about. Why don't you tell us about that? But first, actually, where were you when this news broke, I should say?
I was in the jungle in Mexico trying to have 1 week of peace and quiet. And I had like went off Twitter for the week. Then I got the notification about the abortion news, and I think I came across this article. It was the one by Joseph Cox at Vice. A very, very critical, important article. I'm so glad he wrote it, because I read that and I was like, SafeGraph, where have I heard this before? SafeGraph is the new company of a relatively new in the sense in adtech terms of the same man who founded another company called LiveRamp, and that's also a pretty sketchy, like, stalkery company as well. So I had come across that company before. I'd come across Oren Hoffman before in my research, and I was like, he's at it again. So the thing about my work is that it's very easy for these people, for these sort of companies, to hide behind their company names and obscure language and all that kind of stuff to kind of confuse people about what's really going on. So I think it's really important to point out who the people are, like faces. Like, there are individual people in this industry that are making these decisions to do these things and to profit off of them. And so my first reaction was to make this thread of individual, first Oren, who founded this company, and the individuals who had given him money to do it. And the mission, the very mission of this company, is to democratize data. He wants to put our physical locations, in the hands of anyone who pays him to do it, pays him for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think people need to understand, like, we're not talking like, people might be thinking, okay, like, they sell this data for what? Hundreds of thousands of people, data on 100,000 people must cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. But from my understanding, a lot of these companies package data in all sorts of different ways based on demographics, based on niches, like, what kind of websites they were pulled off of, or what industries would possibly be interested in this data. And sure, some of this data is probably sells for a lot of money, and maybe only moneyed corporations would be interested. But then a lot of this data is also very accessible. You could buy this user data for a couple $100. And on top of that, when we're talking like law enforcement or other government agencies, price probably won't really be an issue at all. If we're, if a law enforcement agency in a red state decides to track people who are seeking out an abortion, going to these data brokers seems like a very easy way, regardless of whatever the cost is, to sort of see, hey, the people in this general area in this state they've been searching for this. They've been, and you could see everywhere they went. So you could probably easily narrow down if you really want to. Oh, this person went to this office and then checked out on this app, this information, and then they went to this address, which is probably this person's home. I'm pretty sure the place they went before that was their office. We know who they are pretty much. So, I mean, it seems like this is all going to be a real problem. And correct me if I'm wrong about anything I just laid out there.
No, that's entirely correct. And you don't need that much information. Like you don't need that many data points. You need, like, for most of these cases, if you want to figure something out about someone or where they live or who they are, is where do they go at night and where do they go in the morning? Because they sleep in their house at night and then they go to work. And there's only so many people who live in your house and go to that place for work. So that's what makes it so scary.
Right. Oh my God. Like it's, and so what happened with this company specifically, the Safeguard, you said they were called, right? Safegraph. I'm sorry. Safegraph. Safeguard. It must be that. I think that's like a VPN company or something like that. The name sounds familiar. Like I must have said it for some reason. What did Safegraph end up? Because I know you really in a really viral series of tweets, really, and good for you, really called them out, put them on blast, and because at one point I think you even found out some of the like some of their investors and even tagged them on it, and they had to come out and make it clear in documents that they, the old Apple Notes apology. They had to make it clear that they support women's rights. Yeah, they yeah.
I strongly support women. That is why I'm an investor in Safegraph. Yes, yes. So the reason that, to put it delicately, people in ad tech don't like Check My Ads Institute is because we go there. We call people out, and no one has ever done that because no one knows what they do. They've just gotten away with their bullshit for so long because, and even I was intimidated when I first sort of entered this industry, and I felt like there was stuff that I was supposed to know as a marketer. They hide behind this jargon. They hide behind this, oh, you're not smart enough. You don't know this like we do because we're experts. And there's all these words that the jargon and the words and the acronyms and all that stuff. But that is all smoke and mirrors. And so when you see, for example, Oren in his reply to me saying something like, we do not collect, I don't remember what he said, but it was a lie. I mean, it was like, we do not collect information on individual users, or we don't collect identities. That's a bald-faced lie. And yeah, and I put them on blast for that reason. I wanted the pressure to be on these individuals who know very well and understand very well what they invested in, and sort of force them to experience the consequences of that. When the public understands they understand what they do, and they were okay with investing in it. So now I want the public to understand what they do and let them know what they think about that. One investor pulled out. One investor sold his shares and donated it to Planned Parenthood. Another investor told me that he supports women and made a whole newsletter update to his audience. And he said, read these articles about, he's like, I also think it's a big problem that people are, that data is so easy to get your hands on. Read these articles to learn more. Like until you divest, until you sell your shares and you are like completely pulled out and you've cut ties, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. So this this is I guess we'll have to see going forward what other, I mean, I'm sure Check My Ads will be on top of other companies that do similar sort of practices. If as this is really something that I feel like while it's still up in the air, but it pretty much feels like it's going that way. Obviously, if you just look at the Supreme Court and who's deciding here, but and I guess until it's done, it's still. I don't know. John Roberts says he's still working on it, trying to. Who knows what? Who knows? Yeah.
Those things are out of our control right now. But the thing that is in our control is this work, and that's why
Yes.
we do it every day. I mean, it's almost. I don't want to say it's like therapy. It's just something, but it is something that I do every day because because it makes a difference and I can see the change taking place in front of my eyes. I see it happening over and over again. The people who we target are scared of us because they know that we're onto them and that we understand the game they're playing and we know how to cut them off from their most important and unlimited source of revenue.
So what let's talk about I want to hear because I want to get into this. This is recent, and I know you over at Check My Ads have been on these guys, and I'm talking about Human Events and Post Millennial. Excuse me, sorry. And I gotta say, people who work for those two sites are, I guess you can say, series regulars here on Doomed. Ian Miles Chong, Andy No, some of our faves over here on this show. I have a long history with some of them too. But before we get to that, I want to ask you what are some of the biggest sort of success stories with you? You were talking about how recently you got SafeGraph to do some changes. We're still not sure how much, but you've definitely had an effect. What are some of the big you guys have stopped some advertising on some pretty big right wing websites and disinfo disseminators.
Yeah, I just wanna clarify that the SafeGraph thing is not like currently part of our mission. It was just something that I did, and I'm like really pleased with at least that there was some immediate outcome. And what happened is that SafeGraph ended up announcing that they would no longer collect data on family planning clinics, and they were removing it from their self-serve product, which is like the thing that anyone can sign up to, and their API, which effectively in theory cuts off people from being able to track folks coming in and out of family planning centers and Planned Parenthood. But what we do focus on
I just want to point out that's what you were able to do when you were just winging it. So let's hear what you guys do when when it's actually part of a yeah.
It's been a busy few years. Last year, so basically what happened last year was we started looking at the post-millennial, and so I mean we've long moved away from talking to advertisers because advertisers generally, like I just said, they don't know where their ads are going. They're not in control. The people who are in control are the ad exchanges. So we go to them, and all these ad exchanges have supply policies. So if you Google Google's publisher policy, you'll see there's a whole bunch of things that they promise advertisers that they will not monetize. Like, we will not place your ads on derogatory content, content that incites harassment and abuse, and so on, and violence and all those kind of things. And Um, so I started taking this information to ad exchanges, and I'm not like sitting here saying I think it is my personal opinion that like you shouldn't be advertising on the Post Millennial. I'm saying this is the content that you're monetizing, and this is the supply policy that you yourself have put out for yourself. This is your standards that you wrote, and it is your legal agreement with advertisers to enforce it. And so the ad exchanges started dropping them one by one. Now, when an ad exchange drops you, you lose access to thousands of advertisers at once. That's why we don't mess with advertisers anymore. That's not worth the effort. Ad exchanges are where it's at. So when you have less advertisers or less ad exchanges working with you, then you have less competition for that space on your website. So your CPM, or your cost per mil, the total cost per 1,000 impressions, goes down. So you start losing like shit tons of revenue. And so we started to we were doing that. And then Dan Bongino like inserted himself into this situation and started to harass me on Twitter. He started talking about me on his podcast, basically doing exactly like violating the supply policy of every ad exchange. So I let him do it, and then I took all that behavior, recorded it, documented it, and I sent it to the ad exchanges. The Post Millennial and Dan Bongino both lost like over half a dozen ad exchanges, a bunch of companies you haven't heard of that were just like basically sending them cash payouts every couple weeks. And Bongino, I mean, you never know what's happening at these big ad tech companies, especially Google. But Google stepped in one day and they suspended him from YouTube, and then he evaded his ban a couple of days or a week later, and so they permanently perma banned him.
Right.
And Google, like YouTube is Google, and Google ads are also Google. So if you are going to suspend him and terminate him from one platform, why wouldn't you do it for the other? So that's what we said. And so the next day, Google killed the ads on Bongino.com, but he also runs BonginoReport.com. And so what they did was they announced that they would not be silenced by Google, and they canceled their own Google ads from BonginoReport.com. It was so funny. Bongino doesn't have Google ads anymore. He does not make money on his website anymore. How much money did he lose is a question that a lot of people have asked. And because, again, the advertising technology supply chain is so opaque, I cannot tell you the answer to that with certainty. But what I can extrapolate based on the fact that Breitbart was making $8 million or expected to make $8 million off of ad revenues in 2017, and then lost 90% of it because of our efforts. The fact that Gateway Pundit made $1.1 million in the election year, this past election year, from Google alone. I also got Gateway Pundit kicked off of like 3 other ad exchanges before that, and they were making additional revenue from that. I'm going to guess because Dan Bongino is like his Facebook page, the thing that drives so much traffic to his website was a regular Facebook top 10 page. I'm guessing that he lost several $1 million.
It's got to be a lot, right? Yeah, and people really need to understand, like when you see those, that top 10 Facebook pages every day, that gets, there's that Twitter account that says which pages got the most engagement and views. Like yeah, it's bad they're disseminating this stuff, obviously, and that it's getting so much interaction on Facebook. But the reason, at least, they're doing it is because there's money to be made from doing it. And so when you see that top 10 list, it's not just like, oh, all those people read it on Facebook. It's, oh my God, those top 10 pages are making a killing sending all those people to their website. 'Cause that's what those top posts are. Like the posts that are ranking, that are putting them on that top 10, those are never just like random statements on Facebook that don't lead anywhere, and they're rarely ever just like a photo meme or a video uploaded to Facebook. No, like 99.9% of the time, those posts that get all that interaction are forwarding people to their website. And why would they want to do that? Why wouldn't they want to get that information to people directly, easily, just on their feed? Because they want people to click through so they get ad revenue.
You got it. That's the game. And Bongino was the biggest success for us. I sort of joke that he demonetized him, he like canceled himself. Thank you for that, Dan. But also we launched the J6 insurrectionist campaign on January 5th of this year, nearly 1 year after the big event, and we picked out 6 of the biggest voices in disinformation. I always forget one, and I pulled it up on a tab here so I don't forget. We picked out who are they? Steve Bannon, Dan Bongino, Glenn Beck, Charlie Kirk. Where's the thing when you need it? Oh God, I get so nervous with this list. Anyway, so we picked out those 6, and Tim Pool, a couple others. I don't know how many I've gotten you so far, but if I haven't said Glenn Beck, he's another. I think that makes 6. Glenn Beck has lost multiple ad exchanges. Charlie Kirk, his website full of ads one day. A week after we write about him, the ads are all gone. It was all being processed through a company you've never heard of called Playwire. Playwire was also working with Human Events. That disappeared as well. Steve Bannon, we've been working on him for the past couple of weeks. He's hosted by Real America's Voice, which is owned by a company called Performance One Media LLC. And Performance One Media LLC also runs weathernation.tv. And so they push weathernation.tv to all the ad exchanges and to all the advertising agencies, knowing that no one is going to dig in and look to see like what else is there. And so they push that forward, and then they subsidize, or we believe, I have to say that legally, they subsidize, we believe they subsidize War Room through Weather Nation. So they've found really creative ways to continue making money, knowing that this brand safe content, the stuff that won't get blocked by brand safety companies and won't get, these advertisers are just looking for the bad words, right? Like they don't, some of them want to just avoid, like negative, anything that sort of like they view as negative or controversial, but no one is going to find the weather to be controversial. So they make money doing, just talking about the weather, and so we've adjusted our own strategy accordingly. So we're asking ad exchanges to remove the entire account associated with Performance One Media LLC, and we've had several ad exchanges do that as well. And this really is the most effective way to really mess up their growth strategies. I mean, the Post Millennial just announced last week that they are merging or being acquired by Human Events Media Group. That means the Post Millennial is now a part of a white nationalist affiliated media organization. That is the information that ad exchanges need to drop the entire thing from their inventory, and that is what we're going to be working on in the next few days and weeks. And we are planning a really, really exciting and interesting campaign for I'm just going to say the near future. It is everything that we've done, but turbocharged. And I wish I could tell you what it is. I'm so excited about it.
Oh, you're not going to give a hint? A hint?
Sorry, not today.
All
right. But you can follow along on, and here's my little plug. Check myads.org/branded. Sign up for our newsletter. That's where we hold their feet to the fire. That's where we put out the sort of investigations and reports that we're doing, and they're fun to read, if I do say so myself. We try to keep it light around here. Ad tech and disinformation isn't the most fun or interesting thing out there. So we really focus on making it accessible to the average person. And our J6 campaign enabled the public to come in and start writing emails. And by writing don't worry about it. Like, I've already written the email for you. We just send you the email and you send it to the executives that we provide you with that contact information. And when these executives see hundreds of emails coming in, they realize that they're in trouble, that they're being watched, and they are forced to act. And that is why we are able to move so quickly. It's because we empower the public to join us, rather than just this isn't just signing a petition. This isn't asking or demanding something. We're stepping in and asking businesses to enforce their legal agreements with advertisers, and that is a very different ballgame.
All right, but before I let you go really quick, there was one more thing I wanted to touch upon, and I hate to do it because you really wrapped it up and gave a really great, what should have been an ending. But there's just one small thing. I promise, just a few more minutes. You mentioned the Human Events and Post Millennial, and how basically recently Human Events bought Post Millennial, and it seems like they had to do it because Post Millennial ran out of advertising revenue because there were no more advertisers. What was that? I'm sorry, you cut
probably
off
got it for like $5. I said it must have been a real bargain, maybe like $5.
Right. Yes. But the thing I want to touch upon is I didn't realize this, but apparently they tried to get around their loss in advertising revenue by launching like some sort of like non-political neutral like sports website or something. What was that? Can you explain this?
Totally. Yeah, I tweeted about this yesterday. So I told you guys already about the Steve Bannon thing and the Weather Nation TV. So what these guys are doing, knowing that they're being watched by us and being blocked by ad exchanges, and knowing how the advertising system works, which is that these brand safety technology companies only scan the website, like only scan the pages for like a certain list of bad words. Like, they know how to play this game, right? Like, they know how to evade these filters and keep getting the money. So they started a website called wocanada.ca, and all the same people who write for the Post Millennial are writing like 7 desserts you can eat in Toronto, like 5 things you shouldn't miss in Montreal. Like,
oh, it's a travel website. Like, I got it mixed up. It's a travel website.
It's a Canadian tourism website, and it is basically a clickbait content farm. It's a content farm. And there's no mention of the Post Millennial anywhere. They don't like disclose that, nothing. But I found in my research, when I was looking into these advertising accounts, this is all publicly available information. I saw this account that was owned by the Post Millennial that had the postmillennial.com on it, humanevents.com, and then wocanada.ca. And I'm like, what is this? And then I looked at the authors, and I'm like, oh my God, they have the same people who write all the racist, homophobic, transphobic stuff on the Post Millennial, also writing 7 things to do, 7 cool hotels in Quebec, like.
Did Andy have an article about the best place in Canada for a milkshake?
That you should submit that as a story idea. But yeah, they write these articles, and then I mean, I don't want to make any other assertions, but I noticed that there were some really high quality advertisers on there who would not want to be on the Post Millennial. So that's what they're doing. They know that website has been blocked, so they have this sort of brand safe arm, and it's sort of insurance for themselves so that they can keep themselves afloat. And so now that we've caught on, and I just want to say that the work that we are doing is like so important, because what advertisers hear all day is that they need to stay away. And like what they heard when, Sleeping Giant started and said, do you really want your ads on Breitbart.com? What they heard is consumers don't want to see our ad next to a bad headline or a controversial headline. So all of this technology that has been developed over the past 5 years is just to scan the page and just to make sure that there's nothing bad on it. But no one looks at the ownership. No one looks at that level of where the money is flowing, who gets the money at the end of the day. So it has been exceedingly easy for people like Bannon and the post-millennial to stay in the supply chain because they know intimately how the stuff works, and they're able to, like I told you some of these figures, right? Like they're able to keep their organizations afloat while not just afloat, they're able to thrive while real news organizations, legitimate news organizations, local news are falling victim to this technology. And there's a whole other side to this about how this technology is simply so shoddy, like so offensively, poorly done. It doesn't even do the thing that it says it does. So it's really a game that they've figured out how to play, and that we have also studied super hard to ensure that advertisers understand that this is not about adjacency. This is not just about keeping your ad away from the bad headline. It's about ensuring that you cut off the flow to these bad organizations, to these disinformation operations. And that is the sort of I think that I would say that's one of the most important things that we have done as an organization. We do see marketers starting to understand this. I mean, I think the public, like you and I have probably already always known this, but I don't know, things get translated in all kinds of weird ways in the advertising industry. So it's a slog, but someone has to do it. We decided to, and it's working. So come join us. Checkmyads.org/branded. Sorry to plug us, but we want you to join us in this fight. And
I was going to ask you to
know how. Okay, yeah, we want you to know how this stuff works. That is our success metric. We want the public talking about ad tech. We want the public to know what SafeGraph is, and like Magnite and Sovereign and all these companies. The more we know, the faster we can stop it.
Nandini Jammi, co-founder of Check My Ads. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want to say, this I don't say this to all my guests because it doesn't always happen for all my guests, but people in the live chat are already asking me to have you back on the show. So,
yeah.
I mean, people really enjoyed this. I think they learned a lot. Where can people find, you already plugged Check My Ads, which is great. Everyone should go check out checkmyads.org. But where can people find you online if they want to follow you on Twitter or something?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm Nandoodles. I also get into a lot of drama on LinkedIn. So if you want to connect with, I don't do the Instagram, but I update LinkedIn practically every day.
Whoa. This is news to me. There's someone doing something interesting on LinkedIn.
That's right. I got into some serious drama last week on LinkedIn. But the adtech CEO that I called out did end up dropping Real America's Voice from his inventory. Just complained a lot along the way.
Wow. I gotta follow. You're gonna make me actually not just follow you on LinkedIn, but I'm gonna have to actually now check LinkedIn.
I have to log into LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I really thought LinkedIn was only good for those inspirational CEO stories and all those like, oh, you gotta hustle stories. But apparently you're bringing a whole new niche to the LinkedIn ballgame here.
LinkedIn is absolutely an underrated place, a medium for activism, particularly the kind that I do, which is B2B activism.
I think you just opened a whole new door for me. I need to get on LinkedIn now. Thank you. Have a great night, Nandini. This was absolutely great. Thank you for coming on, and I hope to have you back.
Okay, I would love to be back. This has been so much fun.
Take care. Bye.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was really interesting. I mean, I'm familiar with some of the ad tech stuff. I mean, I cover tech, and also just from I think you guys know my story. How like in the late 20. No phone calls yet. People are already jumping onto the. Oh, I called her on the doomed live one. Oh, I got lucky. No one interrupted that. I need to be more careful of that next time. I'm just gonna sign out from the calls. No calls quite yet. Hold on, I gotta do some stuff. And then I will log back into the calls. I promise I'll take your call. I see who's calling in. I'll take your call first. Just give me a second. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, I was really into like the startup world. Like I found it really interesting. Just as like a hobby to like, I thought it was really interesting the way the internet was, moving into like Web 2.0 with social media and a lot of this ad tech stuff was really coming into its own then. And so, I'm sort of familiar with all this stuff, but to hear Nandini talk about it with her activism and her, I learned some stuff too. Her really deep understanding was really interesting for me. And especially interesting for someone who was learning about and reading about this stuff like 10 some odd years ago. And also interesting that she brought up Tim Pool because, folks, I have my tickets. And I can tell you right now that on Monday, I don't know if he wants me announcing it yet, but I'm assuming I can. I have my tickets sent to me by his team. I will be on May 16th, Monday, May 16th, less than a week from today. I will be on the Tim Pool live stream. Live in person in his studio. Just in case you were wondering, I want people to tune in. You'll have to watch Tim Pool's stream. He gets enough viewers, so don't look at this like, oh, I don't want to give him another view. No, he gets it's not like it's gonna. You'll be, go in and be in the live chat and speak your mind. This should be good. I'm planning on, doing my thing. I'm really looking forward to it. People are losing it in the. I think it's a big opportunity. Honestly, there's no doubt Tim Pool has a huge show on YouTube. Probably one of the biggest. He's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but right-wing shows on YouTube. Not quite as big as Crowder, but probably maybe the second biggest after Crowder. And I have a lot of things. I'm sure he's gonna ask me a lot of things. I have quite a few things to bring up to him. You guys know me. I have I'm a man with the plan. I know and someone who has been covering right-wing politics for a long time. I spoke with him about it, and I told him I was doing it. And they said if there's anyone who I'd be okay with going on a show like that, it's you. And I really appreciate that. Because I think there is a level of trust that people have in what my long history of doing this. Where someone said, you better record your end. I won't be able to. I'm going to be there in the studio. I'm not going to be able to do anything. If someone would like to record the Tim Pool live stream, please, by all means. I don't think they're going to do anything. I don't think Tim Pool edits his live shows. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he does, though. But if anyone would like to record the live stream, like screen record it or whatever, make sure you're grabbing the audio, too. If anyone would like to do that because you're worried about that, please, by all means. It won't be double stream like I do when I'm doing a stream in my usual studio at home. It's not going to be also on the Matt Binder YouTube channel. No, this is going to be all on Tim Pool's channel. His show gets hundreds of thousands, sometimes million or so views each episode. It wasn't Sam Cedar, Dave, who said that to me. Yeah, Tim doesn't edit his live show, says David. Listen, I'm okay with listen, I think he's going to have me on. I think it's actually going to be. I've seen his debate with Vosh, his debate with Destiny. Destiny's not quite me, or Vosh. Vosh is probably close, but I'm going to be going about it much different than Vosh. Actually, maybe not. Stylistically wise, yes, but I think Vosh had a similar goal that I do. I mean, I don't know what his goal is from his mouth, but from watching his debate with Tim when he was on Tim's show, I think he had a clear goal, and that's sort of gonna be mine too. Grim says, just hit record on your phone so you have your own evidence. No, I'm not gonna do anything like that. No. Listen, I'm gonna be completely respectful when I'm there. I don't want them to worry. I'm going there like I would to any other show, whether I'm gonna be on, and they don't have to worry about anything like that. There's gonna be no secret recordings or anything like that. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say hello. I'm gonna be cordial while I'm there. This is his home, I believe, right? It's his, if not his home, it's his personal studio. I'm not gonna so they shouldn't worry about anything like that if they are. That's silly. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just it's gonna be an opportunity to reach his audience. And we'll see. Is his how much of his audience is just straight up right wingers, and how much of his audience is who he he believes it is, or I don't think he believes it is, but how he portrays them as just like independent minded thinkers who aren't left or right. I don't believe that for a second. I mean, I'm sure there are some, which is why I'm going on, but I don't believe it's the vast majority or even close. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun time, good times, and I think there'll be some interesting moments. Again, I want to make it clear, just in case if I mean interesting moments, I'm not planning anything. I'm just saying usually I have, with my own natural charisma and personality and way of talking with people, I have a good, I have a knack, a habit of getting people to be very open and go places they don't want to necessarily go. Like, for example, that time I just unplanned, just the way the conversation went, and I got him to admit it without even pressing him on it. That time Michael Tracy said that he didn't think it was important to get any sourcing for stories, which blew my mind. Really, it still does to this day, and I still can't believe he openly said it while talking to me. It's baffling to me, quite honest, that he said it and didn't realize what he said, quite frankly. Yeah, I mean, that's something. I mean, I don't know exactly what, but I'm sure there'll be something like that because of who I am. I'm looking forward to it, and who knows? Maybe he'll get me. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he'll get me, and maybe this will all backfire. And I'll be sitting there with milkshake in my face, a la Andy No. Yeah, but no, listen, it's gonna be a conversation. I'm not going for any owns or anything like that. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with one of the largest political commentators on YouTube. And my feeling all around. I appreciate when someone on the other side actually opens up for this, because it gives their audience an opportunity to listen to something they won't usually listen to on their own. And that no matter what else I think about his politics and his rhetoric, for everything else, just doing that puts him in a category of my own where you get a little nod from me. You get a little added recognition, like Michael Tracy did, like any of the libertarian callers who call into the majority port do. It's the Convo Couch guys had a debate with me. Last I heard, I'll be doing a debate with some other right-wing or reactionary commentators. I don't remember who, but I'll be doing it with the Lance of the Serfs. That's still in the works, so I can't give you any more details, but there'll be something coming up at the end of May. Yeah, it'll be it'll be a good time, an opportunity. And who knows? Maybe he'll have me back. Even maybe he'll think, this Matt Binder guy. It was because I think at the end of the day, a show as big as his wants someone on who entertains his audience, and I think it'll be good. I think they'll be. Let's put it this way: they'll be very entertained. Let's put it that way. Cool. Folks, patreon.com/Matt Binder to support this show. This may be your last chance to get in the early days. Who knows? After Monday, I might be big time. Who knows, This might be the last opportunity to say I knew Matt Binder before he blew up. I have no expectations of that, honestly. But who knows? Maybe. Maybe it'll surprise me. I'm actually sort of surprised sometimes. I think I mentioned this on the patron only portion of the show a couple of weeks ago, when Ben Burgess went on Joe Rogan's show. I was really shocked actually at how little bump a left-leaning, in the general sense, personality got from going on Rogan's show when compared to like when he has literally anyone else on. Like when Burgess announced he was going on Rogan's show, I was like, oh my God. Burgess is going to blow up now. It's going to be big for him, huge. Like he's going to be, I didn't think he was going to be as big as like his right-wing guests when they go on Rogan's show, but I thought he was going to get a nice size bump. And from what I've seen, maybe there's data I missed out on. Maybe there's some other monetization, but his Patreon and his Twitter follower count. I mean, maybe there was a small gain, but it was much lower than you would think. Rogan's show going, and I'm not knocking. I don't want anyone to come across thinking I'm knocking Ben Burgess. This is just factual, straightforward information. Like, if any left winger if I went on Rogan's show, I would expect some sort of bump. And I don't think there was. Got a super chat that someone wants me to read. Will T with a $10 super chat says, please give Tim Pool a stone cold stunner in the marketplace of ideas. I will absolutely give Tim Pool a stone cold stunner in the marketplace of ideas. I want to be, it will be in the marketplace of ideas. There will be no actual physical contact. Patreon.com/Matt Binder to support this show. Also, you could find the podcast version of the show at doomedcast.com. As always, youtube.com/Matt Binder. Subscribe to the channel. Twitch.tv/Matt Binder. Follow the channel on there too. But also, if you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free Twitch Prime subscription every month. That means if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get a free paid Twitch subscription to give to your favorite streamer every month. Literally, no extra cost to you. Amazon pays the Twitch streamer of your choice once a month. Just connect your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account and subscribe to my channel using the Twitch Prime subscription that Amazon gives you for free every month. Reminder, if you've already done so or are planning on doing so, the subscriptions do not auto-renew. The free Prime subscriptions, I should be specific, do not auto-renew. If you want to give me your free Twitch Prime subscription every month, you need to manually resubscribe when your prior month subscription lapses. You just do it the same exact way. Twitch.tv/Matt Binder, subscribe via Twitch Prime. It'll even keep track of how long you've been a Twitch Prime subscriber for. It'll tell you, oh, you've resubscribed for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, but you need to manually do it every month. So, just be aware of that. Obviously, if you want to give your Twitch Prime subscription to another streamer every now and then, you would not do that to me. But, it sounded like I was saying, don't do that to me. No, I mean, you would not resubscribe to me. But if you do want to give it to me, then you need to resubscribe manually every month. But also, please don't do that to me. Give me your subscription every month. Scam Economy, scameconomy.com. It's also on the YouTube channel, and definitely check out Scam Economy. Molly White was my guest last week. Molly White was also supposed to return to the show this week, And I have interviewed her for the topic we were going to talk about this week. But due to various changes in the crypto market, which some of you might be aware of, which to summarize as crypto line goes down big time. The Molly White interview planned for this week will be aired next week. And I will have an interview this week with someone brand new who will be joining me to talk about something very interesting that happened in the crypto world this week. A very specific event with a certain stable coin that was supposed to be pegged to the US dollar that I can tell you is now not so much pegged to the US dollar. Unless the US dollar is worth like 70 cents now. Follow me on Twitter at Matt Binder. Oh, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go to the Doomed Show. Doomed Show, what am I saying? I mean, it is the Doomed Show, but go to Doomed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a review. It helps big time. Do the same for Scam Economy. It's like literally super simple. Just open up the Apple Podcast app on your phone. Search Doomed. When you get there, you just got to scroll to where you see the stars and the review aggregate. I think Doomed has a 4.7 out of 5. Scam Economy has a 4.9 out of 5. Leave a review. If you don't want to leave a written review, that's cool. Press the stars. It's super simple to do. Really. Just if you can, take a second. Especially if you cannot monetarily support the show. This is a huge help as well. And always, of course, tell your friends, your family members, share the show on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're on social media. Tell your friends about it. In person, offline. Please do that. Let people know about the show. Either of them, both of them, whichever one tickles your fancy. All right, folks, let's go to the Patreon half of the show. Right now, if you're a patron subscriber or a live stream viewer, even if you're just a free live stream viewer, you can stick around. I'm not going to cut you out. You can even call into the show. Open up Skype and search Doomed Live. I'll be taking calls. If you're just a lowly free audio listener, then this is where I say to you, I will see you all next time on Doomed. We're back. Hello, everybody. Let me just fire up the phones. I had to check something really quick. Let's fire up the phone. So, yeah, Tim Pool on Monday. Excited. Excited I am. I'm hoping, in terms of how it goes, I think it's going to go fine. I don't think, there's literally nothing they can do that's going to bother me. I mean, if they have like a Steven Crowder-esque, like, Sam C, there's someone who's going to surprise me. I mean, I don't know who it would be, but there's no one who I would. Oh, wait, hold on. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Grimlock from Cybertron.
Hey, Grim from Cybertron. How are you? What was it to talk about?
There's a lot of things that I could talk about, but I want to be very, very serious right now. So,
Grim, I'm going to stop you for a second, just really quick. Do not say anything that someone would send to the Tim Pool Show.
Oh, absolutely not.
And get them to cancel my Monday appearance.
No. I'm going to. Again, I'm saying being serious, and like I'm not gonna like go and make my sort of.
because
What's it? Burlesque, exaggerated statements.
Something funny happened. Did you see what happened? There was an episode of the Scam Economy post show where you were talking about like running crypto promoters and scammers through like the meat grinder or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was clear that you were joking. Like you were saying it's so over the top. I mean, you're gonna say you aren't joking, but you were embellishing. You were being funny.
Yeah, no, that was the same
heightening
thing
for
saying,
exaggerating for comedic effect. Quite
yes,
clearly
that was
to anyone.
part of a conversation about like if we were in the post-apocalypse.
Yes, and someone
came to my post-apocalyptic survivors camp and they said I used to be a crypto guy. I'd be like, yeah, we're gonna eat him for breakfast.
Right, yes, and someone cut that out and made it seem like it was very real, which is ridiculous. And they posted it to Twitter and tagged a bunch of crypto people. And it didn't get very far, thankfully. Well, not thankfully. I don't really care. They could. Who cares? It didn't get very far, but they used it a few times, and I was like, oh my god, come on, this is ridiculous that they're even. But in the crypto context, I don't think it would have any effect. But last thing I want is for some humorless right winger to see it. And
this is all real.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
2 days ago, the Alabama government pushed through a ban for the first time, making it a felony to be trans.
Yes, I saw that. Just unbelievable.
This is a part of across the country. We see different states saying, "Oh, they want to ban condoms. They want to ban contraceptives." There is we've been living through decades of Christo-fascism. And the Democratic Party, the only thing they've decided to do right now is to actually give more money to the police to defend justices, which seems especially curious when Trump filled the Supreme Court with, not the Supreme Court, but federal courts and whatnot. And of course, again, my same fury and scorn for these same stupid poll and class reductionist crypto fascists. And there are people on the left who continue, or people who in left media, I should say, who continue to push social democracy. But inevitably, the deal they seem to always make is, well, we have to give up on all these other identity issues. And it turns out that maybe that was what they wanted, was to give up on these identity issues. And that in reality, there aren't a lot of people who are willing to stand up for people's real civil rights.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's what I hate. These issues that are identity issues. I mean, that's often what they're talking about. Issues of someone's human rights, civil rights. Like, we're not talking like, they always try to frame it as like the culture wars. Oh, I want to take part in the culture wars. No, culture wars is, a fight over the new Star Wars movie or some shit. It's not about whether it should be legal for trans people to exist in a red state.
It does in a sense. It is in a sense. They're right. It's about culture war, but it actually goes back to the original German of Kulturkampf, of cultural struggle. And they're on the opposite side of it. There are people on the left, in the left's media, who, again, because of the Sanders campaign, saw an opportunity to provide people the things they wanted to hear, and to not tell them the hard facts of that America just doesn't have a left. That, yes, for the sake of harm reduction, you can vote for the Democrats, but they're going to sell us out. And that the reality is that the Overton window in America, like I was saying last week, just has no room for a left in America. And maybe in generations we will, but we don't now. So it's important to pay very close attention to people who are absent on these issues, to people who go on Joe Rogan and tell us that Andy Ngo is a serious journalist.
Oh, you're talking about, all right, because I brought up Ben Burgess. I still have not been able to watch that entire thing. I'm not saying I said it like I couldn't do it. I just haven't had the opportunity. There's like, I have so little fucking time to consume content. Honestly,
Watching is a serious leftist. That was the clue. That was a year ago.
I can't
tell you that.
I can't really talk about it because I haven't seen it. I do know that.
Don't need to see it. I know what she said, and there's no reason to platform a person like that and tell me you're a serious leftist. Just like there's no reason to have, like you reported last year, to have Talia Levin on Rosh Hashanah to then antagonize all Jewish people, saying that we need to prioritize de-radicalizing Nazis.
Wait, who said that?
That was your thing with Brianna Joy Gray.
Oh, right. I forgot she did. Oh, I forgot all about that whole thing. I did a whole episode on it, or a whole segment on it. I totally forgot about that whole.
I wasn't gonna watch that if you.
Dude, I can't even remember sometimes what I did yesterday. It's really bad. And it's not, honestly, it's not because like I'm forgetting everything. It's because there's there's a number of things that I'm working on, reporting wise, stuff for Doom, stuff for Scam Economy, preparation for future other events I'm doing. And I totally forgot to plug the live Scam Economy I'm doing in Brooklyn. 2 days, not 2 days. What am I saying? A week and a half after the Tim Pool thing, I'll be doing a live show in Brooklyn as part of the Digital Void Festival in Brooklyn. So if anyone wants to come check that out, please do. So I'm glad you reminded me of that. I totally forgot. Yeah, that was, I saw that I didn't listen to it, so it could just be a clickbaity title, but with decent content. She did a Red Brown Alliance episode recently, Brianna Joy Gray.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, that is,
again, want to stress, if not listened to it, it could just be a clickbaity title, but yeah.
I don't need to. We've seen the direction she's been in for years. We don't know where Virgil is. That's a really good question. That's something an innocent man does, is disappear for over a year and do that multiple times.
I mean, the interesting thing to me about that, honestly, is what was the deal they had that he's still on, he's still tied to the show, taking literally just looking at the fact that he hasn't been on the show for over a year.
I'm guessing his dad.
Usually you would what was that?
I would guess that his parents probably helped finance that show.
I'm not going to speculate on this specifically because I don't.
But I mean, these are all people. These are all Ivy League. Brianna's Ivy League. These aren't working class heroes. She's a Harvard grad.
I just don't understand why he would still be on for putting aside everything, all the details, what he did, what he didn't do, what they're going to claim, they're not going to claim. I have putting that all aside, if someone hasn't been on the show for over a year, you would think, why wouldn't you just drop their name from the title, especially with the fact that he brings his name being still connected to the show brings negativity to the show just from that aspect. Weird. I think it's weird.
All news is good news, apparently. But let's before we overstay this welcome. It has seemed like for a while that you haven't been doing repeat guests.
I actually take great pride,
which is good.
Yes, I really try hard not to do repeat guests. Obviously, I think I even saw you mention it. Obviously, when there's an individual who's a great guest and also happens to run the premier website for tracking every single crypto scam and hack, I'm talking about Molly White, and I do a crypto show, it's hard not to have her on regularly or sort of regularly or more than other guests. Right. But yes, I do try to have a variety of guests and try not to go back too often. Obviously, I'm not saying there's Michael Hayden's been on this show a number of times. Jared Holt, Kelly Weil, who is going to come on the show again soon. I got to reach out to her again, talk about her flat earther book. But what were you saying, Grim?
No, I was going to say it's been SPLC has been doing some great reporting on Posobiec, Cernovich, Jones. I would love to see Hayden back on the show sometime. And also having Emmy Bevensey back on.
Yes, I have to have them back on. Yes,
they are the person who I think has written the most clear-headed reporting on the Red Brown Alliance.
All right, I have to check that specific.
They also are very knowledgeable about Alexander Dugin and multipolarism.
Who did you recommend for Alexander Dugin? I don't want to have.
That is also Derek Varn.
Well, I don't want to have Emmy on for that because there's so much more I can talk with Emmy.
But if you want to properly situate Dugin, definitely see Derek Varn.
Derek Varn, you said?
See Derek Varn, yep. Also, just like the third position in general, various sorts of flavors of red fash.
All right, I remember you said someone. I think it was C. Derek Varn, because there's so much more I could talk with Emmy about. I'd rather have someone on who I would just talk about Dugin with. Honestly,
they're also really good at some of the Red Brown stuff, like talking Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone and that whole angle. But yes, for Dugin himself, I would absolutely say Varn. And you know what? Thought Slime also recently had a little vid on Caleb Maupin. It's also Peter Coffin, Infrahaz.
Who is that? I missed that.
Thought Slime.
Oh, right. That's someone who I've been meaning to reach out to as well. There's a bunch of YouTubers I've been meaning to have on. I really need to get on top of that, especially with the fact that their audience would come over and listen to, hopefully, right? Yeah.
And Maupin, of course, connects right back to LaRouche.
Wait, who?
Maupin was a former LaRouche, so it sort of brings things a little full circle on Doomed, or at least sort of brings back.
Wait, who would I have on to talk about?
No, I'm saying Caleb Maupin was a former LaRoucheite.
Wait, who's Caleb Maupin?
He's some crazy. Thank you.
I know who you're talking about. That yes, I know who you're talking about. Okay, the guy who got tagged as Russian media and then claimed he wasn't. Yeah. When in his bio it said
literally sitting next to Alexander Dugin at a conference.
All right, cool. Thanks, Grim. I got a lot of people on, and I'm gonna say we gotta jump. It's been actually like 15 minutes. Always a pleasure to talk with you, though.
All right, take care, Matt.
Take care. I saw a bunch of people ask in the chat about. I guess they missed the early part of the show. I will be on Tim Pool's show this coming Monday, the 16th. They threw a bunch of dates at me. A Monday sounded nice because I have the weekend and just go on a Monday. Also, give people the whole week to talk about it, honestly. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski, and is my audio okay?
Your audio is good. Let me also pull you up on the feed so people could watch this late night farming with Kowalski. I love it. I love when you do this. Late night farming with Kowalski. I'm going to actually take myself off the screen for a second so everyone could see the full-blown, so it's not a side-by-side. You get the full screen of Kowalski in his tractor.
Yeah, late night in the office. Actually kind of close to town. You can see the lights in the distance. That's all Walmart.
Oh, wow.
But the reason I'm calling in is your interview kind of reminded me a bit about some data in agriculture that is also used for financial stuff. So didn't know if you'd like to hear about that real quick.
I would if you'd like to give me a summarized version, because that sounds like it could possibly be a show even. I mean, I just told you before how last time you called in, or two times ago, how your doomsday scenario for the way everything can go due to the farming situation could be an episode, and this sounds like it could be one too. But go ahead, let's hear
it. So the short version of it.
Wait, hold on. Is that literally a gate that just has 3 posts? 4 posts?
No, it's a fence line.
It looked like it was just it looked like a very short, small gate for a second. Okay.
Oh no, as you can see, I came up to the end of my field, but
wow.
Yeah. So the short, with all commodities, commodities go on stock exchanges or commodity exchanges, and people buy and sell those. Typically, you try to buy low, sell high, make them tidy little profit. So when it comes to getting farm subsidies through the U.S. government, you have to surrender your planting information, what you've planted, when you planted, and your harvest information, when you harvested and how much you harvested. If you do that, then you qualify for federal crop insurance, which inherently reduces your risk as a farmer by making like your leverage at a bank a little easier to tolerate, since there's some money there if you get some bad weather. The reason you give this information to Uncle Sam is that Uncle Sam will then post this information for everyone to see. So if you're trying to track the market, you can see roughly like what we expect production to be. So, if they start getting planting information that, oh, planting is a bit delayed right now, you would expect yields to go down, supply goes down, so the cost of the commodity would go up. The USDA is probably one of the best organizations on the planet when it comes to getting information on the supply of grain in the United States, which is probably the best in the world in terms of reporting all this information. So if you went to the USDA website, you could actually track county by county across the country what they produce and when they produce it. So whenever the USDA posts their reports, it always makes a frenzy on the commodity exchanges, because if they show that there's drought pressure here, so the supply is going to, dip down, you would expect price to go up. So people would try shorting that immediately by buying low, and then you would sell it when it's high. There are private companies out now, this thing here is my planting monitor. So it's recording when I've planted and what I'm planting. This is my fertilizer monitor. It's showing when I've fertilized and how much I've put on. This information will all get uploaded to the cloud eventually and used for us bookkeeping, but the data will be used by the company that provides this to give to third parties. And what they do is they sell this information to whoever wants to buy it to try to beat the USDA reports. Because if you can estimate what production is before the USDA reports come out, it's kind of like when people get stock information a few nanoseconds before everybody else, you can cheat the market just a little bit. But there are some farmers to this day will not utilize this kind of stuff just because they do not like how financialized all of this has become. So it's actually kind of impressive that, pretty much everything has been commodified. Your data is being sold on everything, and it's used by everybody to make, their own money.
That's really interesting. Wow.
And if you use John Deere exclusive stuff, they record everything. You have no say whatsoever in it, and you agreed to it when you purchased it. As far as I remember, I do not know that definitively, but I do believe that is the case.
I forgot where I saw this too, but apparently this just was in the news a couple of days ago, I think, or I came across it at least. Is apparently John Deere products have a kill switch on them, so the John Deere can shut down your use of one of their again. This is what I heard allegedly. I've dive more deep into it. Have you heard about this?
So I'm sure you've heard of things like OnStar. So if your vehicle gets stolen, they can see where it's at and then remotely turn it off.
Right.
John Deere could essentially do the same thing. However, what's kind of interesting is so some of the stuff I can hook to the back of this involves a PTO, which is basically just it's a way to get rotational force when you hook up to an implement. Very common on hay equipment. But in order to use that, as you can see right here, PTO, you actually have to buy a prescription to turn that on. All the hardware's there, all the software is there, but if you do not pay the activation fee, you cannot utilize that piece of technology that you've already paid for. It is pretty nutty.
I think there's a few other things I think that do that. I remember hearing like Peloton, whatever that bike company's called. I think they have something like that where everything is in there, but you have to subscribe to use it. Yeah, that's wild. People are asking in the chat, what exactly are you doing on the tractor right now?
So I am watching my monitors. I am listening to see when this thing runs out of seed, because one of these lines will drop, and then I'll need to get out and level it. I slow down when I come up to a bump, and then when I get to the end, I do have to manually steer.
But why are you in the tractor at this time? At 11, or at least for me, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. What are you doing?
I'm trying to get my last 2 fields planted before the rain gets here in 2 days.
What are you planting?
This is corn. Conventional yellow, not non-GMO, unfortunately.
Ah, all right. All right.
This will either end up as cattle feed or ethanol.
Ooh, well, thank you for calling in. As always, Kowalski, it's always a pleasure to speak with you while you're doing your farming. I find it to be fascinating, quite honestly. I could just, again, if you did a live stream feed of just this, I think you would get a lot more viewers than you think, honestly.
That would actually be pretty entertaining. I'm actually surprised that my phone hasn't dropped, but yeah, just thought I'd share a little bit about how data is used to financialize things.
Not only has it not dropped, but it's crystal clear, the picture. Like, it's good.
That makes absolutely no sense, because like, this gizmo here, we used to have to use
literally put the phone up to your screen, and I can literally read it to you. Like, just go ahead, just to give you an example of how. Okay, seed control it's spelled CTRL. You got 32.0 KSDS/AC, whatever that is. Vacuum control, spacing row 4, seed sec 2, vacuum rate, sect 1 disk RPM. I mean, it's crystal clear, man. You have great connection out there. Yeah.
That's actually really surprising. I've been losing my tracking on this, and we used to use like these $10,000 base stations, but a recent update, everybody can now just use cell towers, and I was having issues earlier, so I'm just kind of surprised.
Now, I just saw something pretty big fly. It looks like fly by your tractor. Is that like
bugs?
Is that a locust? Is that a locust?
Yeah, these giant June beetle things are everywhere right now. You can imagine giant bright light in the middle of a field.
Right.
So it'll attract all the insects.
All right. Yeah, your farming doesn't seem so magical when you explain the bug aspect, honestly. Everything else looks like a lot of fun. But I don't know if
bugs can't get me. There's a windshield.
Okay. All right. It's not an open, it's a completely enclosed tractor?
Oh, yeah. And honestly, this thing's amazing because the AC is above you, so the cool air just drapes down all around you. And it has a Bose sound system in it because they're just trying to deck these things out to make whoever's going to be spending 6,000 hours in it entertained.
Wow. So. Damn. Well, get a TV installed in there and you're set, man.
Yeah, that's what I got the phone for.
Right.
Ordinarily, it's on this cradle.
All right. All right. There you go. All right,
but,
cool.
You've probably got other calls, so I will leave you there. But
take care, Kowalski. Have a great night.
Have fun with Tim Pool. Bye.
I will. Thank you. Bye. Oh. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hey, this is Kurt calling from Minneapolis. How are you doing?
Hey, Kurt, I'm doing great. Just do me one favor. Can you turn the volume down on the stream? Because I could hear it through the... I could hear it, and it's behind, so it's distracting.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Perfect. Hey, Kurt from Minneapolis. What would you like to talk about?
So I just really, like, with this audience and with all of this progressive stuff, just want to underscore the power of working in local politics. I am an environmental activist. I work with a local environmental organization, and people don't understand how much they can do on a state level to really change things politically. Everybody's focused on nationwide politics, and that's just there's nothing we can do there. But if you change things on a state level, you can actually make things really happen. Environmentally, everything like that. And that's basically what my message is to everyone. Like, it's just such an important thing.
Right. No, I think, and especially to really drive home with the usual topics of conversation on this show, the right is very in tune with local politics. They are completely overwhelming the local elections all across this country. Literally, we're talking like school board elections and like district leader elections, and like every single local office you can think of. And I'm not even talking about like just Republicans. I mean, like the most right wing, the most conspiratorial of them are focusing on those positions. So yeah, absolutely, we should be paying way more attention. When Media Matters throws up their QAnon tracker of which QAnon believers are running for office, the vast majority of them are running for these type of elections.
Even on a smaller scale, like if California can get a ban on PFAS in packaging, then like it isn't worth it for all of the manufacturers to use it anymore. Just those kind of small bans, state as a state, a couple states ban something, and then it's not worth it anymore for those manufacturers to use those things anymore. Yeah, it's that's all I'm saying.
Right. Thanks for the call, Kurt. Really appreciate
it. Yeah.
Have a great night. Yeah, he's on point. Absolutely. Bunch of calls on the line. Ooh. Wow. And of course, they all hung up just as I hung up on Kurt. Where am I on? Should I play this clip? Oh, we got a call. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Matt Binder?
How are you doing, Dave from Jamaica? What would you like to talk about?
Not much. Well, I shouldn't say this is a conflict with Grim, so I'm putting that aside. It's more of a broader discussion. There's a big difference between grifter or anti-leftist or whatnot, or wolf in sheep's clothing, and somebody just being wrong, right?
Right. But what are you referring to?
I saw the Ben Burgess thing with Joe Rogan, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, certain things he did okay, and other things not so hot. And that's kind of my read of it. I think.
Right. I mean, I can't. I can't really speak to it. I know. Listen, I know. I know that there are areas without a doubt, just from seeing some of the stuff Burgess talks about, areas I would likely very much disagree with him on. I believe I met him. Yeah, he was at he was one of the guests at the Michael Brooks show, the live Michael Brooks show that I was on in February of 2020.
Yeah, I think I was there, wasn't I?
You were?
Yeah, I think that was the one. Right.
You were here? You were live at the show?
Wasn't it? This is when Michael was alive, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Wait, are you saying you were there?
Yeah, when Michael was alive, the New York one, right?
Yeah.
The Brooklyn one.
I met you?
You're cutting in and out.
Hello?
I can't hear you volume wise.
Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's your.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now? Wait, are you saying I met you?
Sure.
I don't remember. Holy shit. I have no idea. Damn. If I met you, I just totally downplayed it. I can't.
Yeah, and Brandon was there, and Brendan, and
All right. Damn. I don't remember. This is a long time ago. But listen, there's also areas I agree with, I'm sure, with Burgess. I'm honestly, other than him being very close with Michael at that point in Michael's life, I honestly don't really consume much of his content. And that's not a knock on him. It's just, oddly enough, very different worlds on the left, if you can believe it. I didn't really. I was more.
This is not really about Ben per se.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it's kind of a general topic, right?
Sure.
As you know, left is a broad tent, and we're going to have disagreements, right? No,
Sure.
I would say, let's say, I consider Glenn Greenwald a grifter because he's proven himself to be a grifter, but it took a while to get there, right? And I think what I do see happening, it's mostly online, is people get so anticipating the backstab, they're not waiting for the backstab to happen.
Right.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
No,
But-
I totally agree. I also think that, the going with what you said, I also think there are individuals. I'm not talking about anyone in specific in terms of like who they could be. I mean, there's people who clearly are. In terms of like, Greenwald, for example, or like Max Blumenthal,
Right.
people who were maybe not fully agreeable with, but were allies in a sense. And, they completely did a dramatic 180, like complete turn. Like, so I get the overall concern. I also think that, yes, we can disagree and someone not be like a complete enemy of the left or something like that.
What I was more interested in is when you were talking about the quote unquote Rogan bump. I think if
there was, maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see one.
No. I don't think you're wrong. I think I've seen this with all sorts of Twitch audiences or YouTube audiences. I think over time, especially where Rogan is now, which is heavy into transphobia and whatnot, right? And conspiracy theory bullshit. His audience is curated, right? Because I remember back in the day when I used to be a Rogan fan. If watching Rogan 10 years ago and watching Rogan now are two different things.
Yeah, I remember. This is one of those things where I really wish I could get Michael's opinion, because Michael was a huge Rogan fan. And he even thought the same, he thought the left at the time. Again, this is 2020, prior to 2020. This is Michael talking in 2017, 2018, 2019, when Rogan was very different, obviously. Prior to his turn on the anti-vaxxer stuff and the pandemic stuff. And Michael thought the left was a little bit hard on Rogan and missing a possible opportunity. I wonder what he would think now. I do. I agree. I agree with Sam. That's my my view of it too, of Rogan specifically, where I do think he's a guy who does not really understand it all. No matter how much he
That's partially true.
It is partially true. Not totally.
But when it comes to things...
Not to say, I definitely don't want to come across as like, oh, poor Rogan does not... No, he's a grown man. He's intelligent enough to sort of get stuff. But I also just don't think he gets the gravity of what it is that he talks about.
No, here's the thing. Here's my read of it. And then I'll get back to the audience curation thing. Is that if it's on a topic he doesn't care too much about, he's more willing to be open-minded. If it's something on his transphobia now, he's going to try play debate Lord Andy with the guest, right? And try to dig up because that's something, for whatever reason, he cares about that.
It's so weird. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
What I call it, he's dumb like a fox.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so weird how obsessed some of these guys are with trans issues. I mean, it's so bizarre. Like,
Emma had a theory on it. Is lots of people view the sports world, and I think this is partially where it's coming from. Men view the sports world as aspirational, even though they're not really going to be pro athletes. And I think when it comes to trans folk, I think that even shatters that wild dream they have even more.
But
right?
how many trans athletes are there even? Like, it's such a small, like, it's a numerical whatever the word is I'm looking for.
It's
anomaly.
Not so
there
much,
we go.
It's not so much the number. It's the reality that because how can I describe it? When it comes to, I personally think male and female is not a very good dividing line for athletic performance, right? Because what is male and what is versus female is a very fuzzy line when it comes to athletic excellence at the end of the day. Because that's why you've heard of certain long distance runners who are female genetically and whatnot banned from certain long distance events because they naturally produce a certain amount of testosterone.
Right. And I can't name a single one of these athletes in these specific sports prior to them or being some big issue. And neither could the people who have an issue with it, honestly.
It's not an issue. It's not a big issue. Right. But I guess the audience curation. I think Joe Rogan audience today, no matter what leftist you are, you're not going to get much of a bump because there are subreddits of old Joe Rogan fans who can't watch Joe Rogan anymore because he's constantly talking about this crazy crap all the time. And he's brought in more of the right-wingers in there. And now he's kind of stuck with that audience.
How many Rogan fans, though, actually left? Because he still has a huge audience. And, I mean, I don't really...
I think he's... Either they changed with Rogan, some of them, and some left. I know some left, but he got back more. I think he got back more from the right wingers that jump in the place, if you get what I'm saying, right?
Right.
So all the ones who are like center, left, or whatnot, couldn't bother watch the content anymore, and then they got probably replaced by 5 right wingers.
Right, yeah.
At least that's my read of it. Because I used to be a Rogan fan back in the day. But after a while, the guy just became unwatchable. It's just like, I can't bother with this.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened to Dave Chappelle for me personally. I thought Dave Chappelle was the funniest guy.
I still can't get over...
And he still thought he was funny.
I still can't get over...
And then now all he does is whine and complain. Right. I can't watch him anymore.
I still can't get over after he was attacked, which obviously is not good. I don't think anyone should be doing that. But I still can't get over after he was attacked on stage. He made it his first thing was to go, it was a trans man. And there are actually right-wingers who believe that a trans person attacked him.
When it was a Trumpista, if memory serves.
The guy was a rapper who probably was doing it for attention, certainly has mental health issues. I think Dave Chappelle even said in an interview after that he spoke with the guy after because he wanted to know why he did it. And it was just a guy with like mental health issues who did it.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy has like a very small rap career. Like he's a budding rapist with very small listenership. But one of his songs talks about how, he's a Trump fan. I don't think he did it as a right winger either. I think it's just a guy who did it because he has issues and needs help. I mean,
no, but what I do find is I'm not worried about you going on Tim Pool, right? Because Tim Pool has you're not really going to debate him. You're more going to have a discussion with him. And when you discuss with him, and I've seen your style before with libertarians and so on, you're going to discuss with them and basically coax them into saying what they believe.
Dave, what are you doing to me right now? Shh, just get out there and people will know the strategy.
No, but here's the thing. I way their media is set up and the way the audience is curated, that doesn't matter anymore. In the sense that, not saying going on is a waste of time.
Hold on. Did I say Did I call the guy who attacked? See this in the chat right now. Did I call the guy who attacked Dave Chappelle a rapist? Did I say that?
No, you said rapper.
I said
didn't hear
rapper.
rapist.
You heard rapper, right? Did I say rapist?
Yeah, I heard rapper.
I did not say rapist. Did you say rapist? Who is everyone in the chat talking about right now?
Sorry. The.
Oh my God! Everyone is saying I said rapist. I said rap.
I'm the rapper of road.
I called him a rapist. Hold on, hold on. I mean, I can't go back and listen to it, but listen, guys, I'm searching rapist, and listen, the guy was actually a follower of George Rapp. That's what I meant. An early 19th century German pietistic preacher.
Oh, well, okay.
Whose experiments in a religion-based cooperative system involved the founding of Economy, Pennsylvania, and Harmony, Indiana. I'm literally talking. He was just a big fan of George Rapp, which makes him a rapist.
I love this chat. They're so good. So the what was it? No, right. So the
I can't get over. If I said rapist,
I'm reading it too.
My God. Someone just said antisocial comedy.
Stop my rapist career.
No, antisocial comedy has got me with Parappa the rapist. Oh no! Oh my God! Oh boy! Ooh.
Well, now we know a new word: rapist.
Rapist, baby. Oh man.
So
I think I really need to stop doing these late night streams. I think I'm getting worse, actually. I think I'm getting.
No, this is content.
Yeah, that's true too.
This is content. Rapist content. So the thing is with the audience curation, right? I think I think this is fair to say. I think the lion's share of Tim Pool's audience is so far down the line, right? When you make him casually expose what he believes, a lot of them will be just still nodding. Yeah, that's right. This is a win, right? I think that's how deranged right-wingers have become. So no, I'm not saying that there's no point in not going or anything like that. Go nonetheless, because even if you get two, that's two out of the hellhole, right? So I take that. But at least that's the nature I've come to notice with right-wingers. The whole, hang them with their own reasoning is not as effective as it used to be, because they've the nature of how they curated their audiences, they've weeded out the wafflers now. At least that's what I think. They've weeded out a lot of them. Because I remember when Sam did debate Tim Pool before he developed a phobia of internet connected Skype stuff, right? And more or less Sam made Tim Pool talk. And to be honest, now that I think about it, I don't know why Tim Pool doesn't want to debate Sam. I don't know why he's right. Because, to be honest, if they do debate him, most of the time it'll just come out a wash. Not saying Sam is a bad debater. It's just the nature of the audiences.
Right.
So.
Right. I mean, I'm under no belief that I'm going on there and coming out with, Tim Pool destroyed or any headlines like that. I mean. No. I'm going on there because I think it's important to take advantage of an opportunity like that. I think it's important to engage with people who want to engage, regardless of who they are and what their politics are. I also think there is a non-zero number of people who do listen to his show that believe they are getting down the middle, unbiased content, and I want
put in some put in some cognitive dissonance, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's
I don't believe anyone. I'm not going with the goal even of like, I'm going to stop watching Tim Pool after watching that. No. What would be my dream scenario was even just one person at the end of that, our discussion that night, at least one person goes, you know what? Maybe along with Tim Pool, I should at the very least be listening to Matt Binder's show every now and then, or another left-leaning show every now and then. And then whatever happens from there. But at least they'll know that, you know, they're not actually getting the content they think they're getting, I think. That to me is going to be something that without a doubt will happen. And that to me is important enough. I'm happy just with that.
Well, personally, I think you're going to do well. I don't have any doubt. Because one, before other people were talking to these folks, you were talking to these folks. So you know what's happening.
Also,
I think call it early.
Also, I think I'll be able to. I really think I'll be able to a little bit, which I think will shock his audience, maybe, or surprise his audience. I think there will be some camaraderie. Because I plan on discussing how, you know, the early days of Tim Pool, according to Tim, his first ever media appearance was on the Majority Report. And I am the one, I'm like 99% sure, because I remember writing the email, although maybe it was the second time we had him on the show, but I'm pretty sure it was the first time. I'm pretty sure I was the one who reached out to him to have him on the show. So I will be able to talk with Tim and say, hey, you know, I booked you on your first ever media appearance per your own words.
Oh, sorry, I'm trying to hold back the laugh because Kowalski and his cheesy ass.
Oh yeah,
and his dodo.
Kowal through the super chat. Tim is far right. Matt is far left. I'm far Ming. Very good.
That joke could have hit.
But you know what? Because it's a super chat, I'm just gonna go. Bah! That's a good one. Oh man.
Knee slapper.
Yeah, woo.
So as I say, I think you'll do well. But now that you brought up Tim Pool, I'm remembering the conversations you had with our friends at the Convo couch, which I accidentally called the COVID couch for some reason.
I mean,
so
it's pretty good, yeah.
And I can't hear you, Matt.
I hear you. You there?
I can hear you now. Okay. So I've heard our friend, is it Isabella?
Isabella Fiorella. No. It's Fiorella.
Russia.
I'm just joking with you because you said her name wrong. It's Fiorella.
Fiorella. Oh, she evidently she landed a job in Russia, evidently.
I saw that, and I honestly was not sure if that was...
It was a joke.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. No, I didn't think she was joking. I thought it was like a parody account or something.
No, evidently it's real.
Well, good for her. Congratulations, yeah. Fiorella. I hope that means we can still do another... I hope that doesn't mean you can't do another chat with me. I would love to talk with you guys again.
No, funny enough, I do think... For whatever reason, maybe it's a personality thing, but I think a lot of right-wingers seem to see you as a fair arbiter. Not saying that you're not unfair or anything like that, but maybe it's a personality thing. I don't know. But
I think it's because I honestly, I think, and listen, I think to Sam's credit, it works really well with the libertarian callers. I don't know if everyone thinks it works in his other style of debates. I mean, I enjoy it, but I think maybe other people don't. I am probably more cordial than most when I talk with other people. That's just my. It's not personally. It's not because I mean, I want to be nice to the individual I'm talking to. It's because, frankly, I'm not performing. I'm not performing for the person I'm talking to. I'm performing for their audience. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know how you do it. I have a notorious short temper when I feel I'm being gaslit. So
well, I don't think they're able to gaslight me. So I think that's part of it.
Right. the
I mean, at least not to my face.
right. But that's what I say. I'm not worried. You'll do pretty well on that. I personally, I'm kind of debating in my own head, like the usefulness of debate in general, because of my own personal experience.
I'm also not really looking at it as. I'm not
times.
really looking at it. I don't think I do any of my debates as like the typical debate. Like I'm just going to talk with him. We'll probably get into some arguments. Probably get into some. But I'm not. There's not gonna be like a point system and like he talks.
Oh no.
It's not gonna be like that ridiculous Paul Elam thing I did, which, while I still did great, the format of it was so lame.
No, it's not that. Funny enough, I debate similar to you or Sam. I'm not out there to score points. I'm out there to kind of figure out what this person's reasoning is and what's going on. And then hopefully when he speaks it out loud, you can sit down and process it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when it comes like when I'm trying to talk to coworkers or parents or whatnot, right? I do feel like it's like one step forward and 15 steps back because I'm always retreading the same ground over and over again. So I guess for me, I think people tend to change their minds when their environment changes. And if they're going back to the same environment, then the chances of changing somebody's worldview, even in the audience, is very hard unless you can pull them out of that environment that rewards them for, shitty thoughts, more or less. And that's why I'm kind of frustrated by some of the stuff I'm seeing, especially with, the whole Red-Brown Alliance stuff or whatnot. It's kind of a fundamental misunderstanding of how environment shapes thinking. And that's kind of my annoyance with it. Like when people say, I'm not against de-radicalizing, I just know how long it takes and it's not supposed to be an election strategy. Like, it's
yeah. All right.
Right? And also and I guess to put a nice bow on it and end it off before I hog any more time. When we're talking about, people being a little bit too class focused versus not, I think, at least from my understanding, at least the people I listen to, like you guys, Left Reckoning, This is Revolution, at least on This is Revolution, right? When they talk about being a little wary of the ID politics, they're not talking about actual identity. What they're talking about is like what the Democratic Party does, which is you know what I'm talking about, Matt. The bullshit stuff like wearing kente cloth by Dem leadership or whatnot. The cynical use of it. I think that's what they're critiquing, not actual identity per se. Am I wrong on that? That's what I think most of the people who are weary of it. Because I think even Michael was a kind of like how Michael was annoyed with the White Fragility book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, listen, I look at it as like, I'm not going to agree with even if I agree on the substance, there's always going to be like just rhetorically how people go about it.
Right.
Like, for example, I don't have a problem with the term white privilege because I understand it. But I sort of get how like the word privilege comes across to people as something that's talked about negatively.
Right.
Like I think maybe, and again, we would be in some aspects. I feel like I don't want to, change things for the right, because that's pointless. But at the same time, I also agree with the basic like marketing fact, even that like you need to speak to the lowest of the your user base or whatever. In terms of like understanding, like you need to like make it as easy as possible for people to do something. And I think maybe that word turns people off because they think that they're supposed to feel guilty for having privilege. I mean, I know that's not what people are saying.
No, of course. Of
Right.
course.
But unfortunately, I think that word, because of its the usual cultural context it has outside of white privilege, people look at it that way. So yeah, I mean, I could listen to a good faith argument on why we shouldn't use that word.
Like, all right, I'll give you a good example, right? I personally think, especially when it comes to identity issues, these things should be more, if we had strong unions, of course. This is the type of stuff union organizers would educate their union membership on, right? But the part where I get worried about it is when the corporations kind of do that type of stuff, because they do it in a way that increases division more than, brings solidarity. Am I making sense so far? Like, the way HR would handle it would kind of, I think it will do more harm than good because of the way they operate it and who it applies to, right? Because like if you're in upper management, you don't have to worry about racial sensitivity training as much as the guys in lower management. At least that's what I have experienced, right? But like if you're in a union hall and people kind of explain what's going on and why, if you're a white worker, this is what happens to black workers, and it changes the dynamic. It's more educational in that dynamic, while in HR it's more punishing whoever for not doing whatever. If you get what I'm saying. Am I making sense so far?
No, you are, yeah.
And I think that's what some of the folks who are normally called class reductionists, like your Adolf Reeds or whatnot, I think that's what they get accused of, when I think it's just a misunderstanding, right?
Right.
And I'm not even angry at the people making those accusations, because I understand where they're coming from. If you are a marginalized person and you're constantly being harassed and harangued, your guard is going to be up. So this is not to curse out anybody or scold anyone. I think as leftists, I think we kind of have to be more understanding of each other, generally speaking, right? I think sometimes we're a bit too quick to cast aspersions on each other and I understand why we do it, because it's natural. When you're out of power, that's kind of the thing you do. You invite. It's natural as human nature. But I just wish we would be more understanding, right? Now, as I said, I agree. There are some people, and I don't want to name names right now because that's more drama. Are there some people on the left who are, I'm not even saying grifters, but definitely wrong-headed? Of course. Completely wrong-headed. Are they obvious grifters? Yes. Your Matt Blumenthal's, your Green Greenwalds, they've kind of shown their colors now. There's no room for doubt on those guys.
Yeah.
But don't let those guys make you think everybody else is
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with what you're saying.
Some people just can be wrong.
Right.
I'm wrong.
Right.
Sometimes.
I mean, I think the problem is when you're when you're used to listening to someone who's so right all the time, like me. When someone's wrong, I'm joking. Obviously, you took it. Wait, I heard you go. Yeah, that's right. Matt's always right. Yeah. Thanks for the call, Dave. Have a great night. Always a pleasure.
Same to you, man.
Oh boy, me and Dave went long. I will take one, maybe two more calls. Let's see how they go. I wanted to get to a clip. Probably won't have time. Also, I got a lot to do this week, obviously. In general, with reporting work I'm working on, the upcoming episode of Scam Economy, planning for Scam Economy Live in 2 weeks, going on Tim Pool's show in less than a week. Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello? Hey, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
One sec. Let me make sure I can hear you. Okay,
Sure.
Could you say that one more time?
Sure. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ren calling from Oregon. I called in on Scam Economy a few weeks ago.
Hey, Ren. Oh, I remember. You're using video this time. Can I pull you up on the feed?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Cool. So, Ren, what was it to talk about?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I watched the Legal Eagle video on NFTs.
Oh, I have not seen that yet.
It's amazing. You really should watch it. And I watched that video. It's like a 40-something minute video, I think. And after watching it, I was just like, wow, this is the dumbest fucking thing I have ever heard of. Oh my God, this is completely meaningless. And there is nothing backing up any of this. Like, I thought that smart contracts were actually like something that was even remotely grounded in anything, but no, it's all just thin air. If there's no like end agreement, then it means nothing.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, these smart contracts can basically be, obviously with contracts you can put anything in it, but the thing about smart contracts is they're not very smart. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, you were totally right. It's just a receipt. Also, I was going to, I guess, try to highlight this to see if this can help with getting into the show. I wanted to call and talk about like restorative justice. Like the interview that I think, was 3 weeks ago at this point. And talk about like certain ways that we can implement positive change on the ground, even if it's not possible to work through legislatures and work through typical means. Like specifically, I was going to bring up like how like pre-prosecution diversions can be used to achieve restorative justice when it comes to things like sexual assault and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what was the what episode were you talking about?
I couldn't give you a specific number, but it was about like 3.5 weeks ago. Was it a Monday? I think it might have been a Monday. And it was the lady who I believe was a professor, and it might have been California, who like wrote this book on like intersectionality and restorative justice.
I missed that one. I have to go back and
yeah,
check.
It was. I think I remember now. It was about like carceral feminism. I think that's what it was.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Damn, you just gave me 2 things to go back and check.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was also gonna ask. Is it seeming like they're going to take away like the fun half and like segment that off to be like a patrons only thing?
It seems like they're not doing it yet, but it looks like it might be headed that way. Maybe. I don't know any inside. I have no insider info. That's just my guess from how they're doing it now. I think it'll probably work the same. My assumption is it might work the same it does now, where the live stream you can watch, but then eventually the replay won't. Maybe they're not. I don't know. I can tell you that they got the forwarding the first half of the show to the second half of the show automatically from me. That's all I can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because you could do that in YouTube. People don't know that. If you can make it so when your YouTube premiere or your YouTube live stream ends, YouTube automatically will forward the streamers to the next video of your choice. And that's something that a lot of people don't know that you could do on YouTube. It's sort of like a raid, but on YouTube.
All right. Let me see. What was the last thing? Yeah, I was gonna say, just asking to like kind of put my name in the hat there. I've already sent 2 emails about trying to get a membership. I'm really pressed financially and I can't afford a membership, but I was just, so that I could keep being like a consistent caller. And yeah, just the last thing is, the community is awesome. Just everyone in the general milieu of Majority Report.
I can tell you that if it, you can reach out to Sam. I mean, unless all of a sudden he changed directions and became a ruthless capitalist. But from my time there, when I was a producer, anyone who had financial issues and wanted to become a member to be able to access the second half of the show, like the audio version or whatever, they were easily able to just email, explain the situation, and Sam would make them a member. So I'm sure if that was to happen and there was a financial issue that kept you from joining, Sam would take care of you.
Yeah. All right. Well, awesome. I'll leave any room for you to be able to get like other callers in. But yeah, it's been great talking to you, Matt. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Ren. This was great. I have to watch that Legal Eagle video now. I really.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I could pull up the specific title of it.
No, I got it. It's NFTs are legally problematic. I found it. Yep.
Yeah.
I see that CoffeeZilla makes an appearance on there. I spoke with him once. I have to get him on Scam Economy.
Huh.
All right. Have a great night.
So, all right. You too. Take care, Matt. Bye.
And I'll take one more really quick last call of the day. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello.
Hey, sorry. Hi, Matt. How you doing? It's John from Peoria.
Hey, John. What would you like to talk about?
Well, there was a few things real short, I guess. One is I know that Emma and Sam were talking about the issues coming up with Roe v. Wade being overturned. And I just wanted to point out one thing. And I know that, I don't know, maybe you can bring it up on Thursday, but in countries where abortion is quasi-legal, they're already having problems like with counterfeit drugs to induce abortion. So, I mean, that's just another fun thing that women have to look forward to when I'm pretty sure that they do this crazy thing they're going to do. So that was just one little thing. The other thing I wanted to ask or see if you were going to discuss it soon is the apparent screw up by Crypto.com and how they've changed the rules on their entry into their goofy. I can't remember, but it was like a certain membership that you got, and apparently they changed the rules, and a lot of people got upset about it.
I'm not sure what you're referring to, but I'm sure I'll be covering it. If it's something. I'm not sure what you're referring to though.
Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of funny to me, that well, not funny. It's kind of a sad comment, I think, on Matt Damon shilling for them. I remember when Matt Leck tweeted it out, in that stupid comment that he the phrase in the commercial was, bold. What was it? History. What was it? History favors the bold or some crap like that.
Oh, fortune favors the brave.
Fortune favors the brave. So I took Latin and Greek. I had a very traditional prep school upbringing, and one of the things that I thought was funny about that phrase is that was what Pliny the Elder said just before he went out to go to investigate Mount Vesuvius erupting and died. So that's how fortune favors the brave.
Right.
The last thing I was going to just mention real quick is I can kind of confirm about how crazy the data is being used everywhere in reference to Kowalski talking about how he can show his planting data, I guess he was referring to. I actually moved to Peoria from Champaign-Urbana in this gig economy to work for CAT. But before, when I was working in Champaign, I was working for John Deere.
Oh, okay.
And so that whole craziness about the right to work and stuff, or not, excuse me, the right to repair. I'm sorry, I misspoke so badly.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean that's a very real thing. They will mess, and I have to be a little careful because I have NDAs associated with my work there, but they will mess with these. At a minimum, a combine that is sold by John Deere is $300,000. You pay $300,000 and you are locked out of a lot of the systems that they put in to those machines, and they can get up to $100 to $1 million, those combines. the there are 23. What I was involved in was, and I can talk about this, as there are 23 sensors on a combine to measure, to try to make it optimize. And the optimization for a farmer is yield, basically. How much are they pulling out of the field? They gathering out of the field. So that all is like proprietary stuff. They don't want that to, much like, YouTube or Google or whatever has all these algorithms that they keep secret. So, so does John Deere.
Right.
And I don't have so much a problem with that. But yeah, I have a problem with, Deere trying to impose the inability for farmers to repair their own machines. And they could, in my opinion, they could easily separate those things out. And, just to get a little further deeper into the woods about this, is so the Technical Innovation Center, which is what I was part of, they're run out of Champaign-Urbana's, I forgot what it was called, but it's basically property set aside for all these companies to try to recruit graduates of the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana to work for them. And so, there's a lot of smart kids. I mean, anywhere from undergrad to getting their PhDs. And so they wouldn't just, work on these farm stuff data, related to what's coming into a tractor or combine. But they would also work on like things like high-speed trading on the commodities market, which I don't know, or high frequency. I don't know if your listeners might be aware of what that is, but that's, pretty, has a lot of critics involved about what's going on in there. And it's definitely a pay to win type of thing in the commodities market.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and like I say, a lot of these kids that are going out, they're like they're getting internships to work on this stuff. They are all ABD, all but dissertation, and they are not paid as much as like a PhD level employee, but they're often doing the same kind of work,
Right.
And the other interesting part of this, so I guess I got to be careful. You can tie a lot of the data from a lot of different things as a data scientist.
Right, of course, yeah.
And if you know where to purchase these data, you can tie things like what something like, say, John Deere gets from off of their machines to publicly available stuff. Well, quote unquote, publicly available, but you pay fees and stuff, even like census data or things like that. And, I don't think people, I know people are aware of how much this is now a data driven society. But, with the IOF, Internet of Things, and all these other stuff, there is so much that's tracking us, so much that's tracking the production of food or whatever, that I think a lot of people would be really surprised how much corporations are in our lives, or, snooping into our lives.
Right. And I think people, like, the thing I find so interesting, I don't think people would, when they think about companies that have your data, I don't think people would consider someone like John Deere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't say that they have it like on a granular level of people like in a city or something like that. But they definitely have and it's not just John Deere. I mean, I talked to a few other. I mean, because like we always make rounds, and talk to each other. There are people like that there were, like Kowalski was mentioning, that try to beat the government's predictions on yields, and they are specifically set up to do that.
Right.
You know, and
Well-
it is interesting.
Well, John, thanks for the call. I appreciate
Okay.
it. That was very interesting. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
All right, folks. That's the show. Went a little bit long, like I always do. But thanks for tuning in. Patreon.com/MattBinder. YouTube.com/Matt. Oh, Super Chats. There was a few more I saw. From JHFSC with a $20 Super Chat. The only reason anyone still gives Rogan the benefit of the doubt is because they are hoping to get on to give their careers an enormous boost. Don't blame them, but no one of good faith thinks that there's a gray area with him. Oh, anyone calling in, I gotta hang up. I really cannot. I'm getting. I feel like I can't give you my all right now. Feel free to call in. The next show, Thursday. I'll do a stream as usual. Yeah. In a sense, sure. I mean, I would go on Rogan's show, but I'm also not pulling my punches on him. To get on the show. Which means I probably won't get on the show. I mean, right now I wouldn't get on the show anyway because I'm nowhere near whatever Rogan's looking for. We got some people who subscribe. One Eye Bandit, thank you for the subscription from Prime. Speculum Fight with the resubscription, thank you. CM Dr. Ramon, thank you so much. Thank you guys for supporting the show on Twitch at twitch.tv/MattBinder. Oh, I forgot to thank the patrons. Let's end it with that. Let's thank some patrons really quick. We're inching ever so closely to, I think we broke the, but I don't want to say that because we always lose some when I say something like that. And then there goes the new patron high. But thank you to, when's the last time? All right. Thank you to Eric S., Cameron R., Brendan M., Jeremy D., and Fitz B. Thank you all so much for becoming patrons. Really appreciate the support. And folks, that is the show for today. I will now be listening to... thank you, Kowalski, for the super sticker as well. That is the show for today. I will now be going back to listen to If I Said Rapist instead of Rapper. Scam Economy on Thursday. Scam Economy on Thursday. Monday, I'll be on the Tim Pool Show. Live on his channel. I believe it's the Tim Pool IRL channel he has because he's got a whole bunch of channels. And then a week later after that will be Scam Economy Live in Brooklyn as part of the Digital Void Festival. Whew, tongue twister there. Until then. Oh, who should I raid on Twitch? Who should I raid? I got a nice little viewership to raid with today. Give me someone good to raid. Someone I don't usually raid. Who should I raid? Dave from Jamaica says number one. Matt Binder's the number one in the Rapist game. Thank you. Who should I raid? Oh, Tim Pool. Oh my God, my voice is going. Oh no. Tim Pool show is on Monday, May 16th. And it starts at 8, I think. 8 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. Oh, I sent a bunch of you guys to a channel last week who people recommended, and she's a good streamer, I guess. But apparently she was reading Alien Smut. I missed it. As long as you guys enjoyed it, I'm fine with it. I have no... Amy is not on. Amy EC3 is not on, which is odd. She's usually on when I'm streaming. Who's Brosheim? It says they're doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel right now. Is that... I did Frogan a bunch of times. I wanted to do something new. Nothing wrong with Frogan. I just want to do something new. Is Brosheim usually do Yu-Gi-Oh? Are you joking with me? Oh my God! Someone give me someone. Someone give me someone. Was this no one on right now? Oh, you were kidding. Well, how am I supposed to know you were kidding, Grim? You know I know zilch about what's going on Twitch. All right, I'll do Mythic Politics. I don't think I've done Mythic Politics before. Let's see. Well, I'll look at Frogan too. Who's got more right now? They got about the same amount of viewers right now. And I'll do Mythic Politics. Someone I haven't done before, I don't think. All right. See you all next time on Doomed.